After reviewing the Sunderland performance, what was your reflective view and your message to the team this week?
The first message was about learning from such a game. I think the start into the game was okay. Yeah, I think the first minutes we were into the game, and then I think the difference was that we conceded 3 goals in 13 minutes. I think that was a killer for us in this game, and then it's hard to come back. I think the atmosphere in the stadium was then great for the home team. That reduce your self-confidence and you have more and more pressure, and I think this is a big learning from this game. It's about game management. We have to know what we have to do in such a situation to come through the next minutes. I think this is for me the key, and then of course some topics where I'm not really well, but to look back and to analyze such a game, then you have to know the story, and the story was that after 25 minutes it's 3-0, and then of course you see this in some situations where we are not compact enough. Our net was then not well. I think our positioning in ball position was not that what we want to do. But guys, this is for me a learning, and I think also learning for my team. And we will see this as a process, and we have to learn from this, and I'm convinced that we will do this.
What is ultimately the best way to handle a situation where you find yourself conceding goals early? What's the best way to manage that situation as a team?
Yeah, you have to break the rhythm from the opponent. For example, you cannot pass long passes, 40-meter long passes where they are waiting for such a moment. Then you have to understand, okay, in which zones we can now play football, in which zones we can't in this moment. This is one part. Then it's about how we press together in the right moments. You cannot press every ball. I think this is also a key. And then again, I think the first and the third goal was after set pieces. I think this is also, you can speak about pressing and ball possession, all the things, but set pieces is also a big part, and this is also what we have to improve. In this case, set pieces is also a little bit about take responsibility, look to each other, defend with mentality. I think this is not always just tactical things. Set pieces is then also about willingness. This is what we have to improve. We spoke about this, but it was a normal meeting. I'm not the manager who you start immediately against your team. This is not the point. I think we have to understand where we are at the moment, in which way we want to go, and this is what I told after a win. You will have some up and downs, and for us it's the season, and especially in the first leg of the season, be more consistently. I think you have some players, they played against Plymouth outstanding, and 1 week later they have problems, and this shows me that we can do in both direction, but for me it's important that we have one good level all the time, and not so many roller coaster situations. And if we do this, I think then I'm convinced that we are on the right way. This is our job, not more at the moment, and tomorrow we have to be sharp, and we will sharp. I saw this in the training, and we have the next opportunity to deliver.
Can you expand a little bit more on what you mean when you're talking about defending set pieces? Is it really about players having that extra bit of desire to sort of win a ball, to sort of get there first, to sort of make a point of defending those situations better?
I think the first one is we didn't recognize on the pitch what we have to do. I think there was an overload on the second post, and we still same in the same positioning. And this is then about speaking. I give a commando, who takes the lead to organize this, and this is what we have to do. And the second one, I think that we have a clear principles what we want to do there, and we didn't. But this is football, and then it's hard to come back in such a point. And I think then after the 4-0, then it's the game is nearly over. You try it, but you feel it, and this is then hard to come through.
Is the occasional heavy defeat a price you're willing to pay playing attacking football that by and large has produced a lot of good results for you since coming to Sheffield Wednesday, including away from...
Again, for me, this is not about the style of football at the feet. The feet is, you have to look to the story, and when you conceded in 10 minutes 3 goals, then you cannot speak about the other 80 minutes of attacking football, not attacking football, because I think everybody was very happy with our performance against Plymouth, and why should I turn after a 4-0 win and 2-1 win in Hull, completely a different style of football? This is not my way. I will never do this. We have to adapt, we have to learn, we have to know what we have to do on the pitch, but my direction is, since I'm here, very clear which kind of football I want to play, and I think this is the reason why we stayed up. That's the reason why we entertained everybody in the stadium against Plymouth, and it's the reason why we won against Hull, because we played on front foot, we played forward, and we create chances. And after one defeat, to speak about a reset or all the things, this is not in my mind. Never. Yeah, I'm not the manager who's not open to be flexible. I think this is what I showed in the past. But we have to understand at the moment where we are in the season. Yeah, and I'm honest to you, I think at the moment, when you look to the table, nobody knows at the moment really which team is how strong, because it's at the beginning of the season, and this is, I think, also important. Yeah, we have to improve, we have to make things better, and now after the friendly games, this is the different. Now in the game, in the season, there's more pressure, there's public. There's every mistake. It could be a conceded goal, and I think these things we will learn. And there's no doubt from my side when I see my team and how we worked and how the reaction was, to speak, that we will not tomorrow go into the game again with self-confidence and with a belief that we can take something. But for this, we have to do a lot of things right, because I think tomorrow we will play the next strong opponent, maybe one of the best of the league. And yeah, from this point we go forward.
Before we talk about Leeds, it's just over a week to go until the window closes. How much work do you think you need to do in the transfer window in the next week?
I think we will have to do something. I think it's about in and it's about out. Yeah, and in both direction there will be something happened. But how quick and which decision? Yeah, this is now a process. I think you see at the moment in the market a lot of things happens, a lot of question marks and rumors. This is normal for the final week, but until now we did a good job, and now it's really to finish this job in the last week. And yeah, I'm convinced that we will have at the end of the window a good squad.
Are you still looking at all areas of the pitch, or are there perhaps a couple of positions that you're really focused on?
We have some key positions at the moment where we're looking for. I think when you look through the squad, then you know where we can double up at the moment our position with the same quality, with a good challenge, and you see as well maybe some position where you think we can do something. And about this, this is now what we're looking for the market, what is available, what is possible. Yeah, it's not always you have wishes. You have also to look what is possible for us as a club. I think we were very flexible in the summer. I think we find some good players, free agents. We signed players from other clubs where we paid something. All the things we did, yeah, but always from our point and our level. And I think this is where we are. What I can say is that we are interesting for other clubs at the moment, for other players. This is what I feel. This is where we get feedback from other clubs, where we get calls from agent, and this is a completely different situation than in January.
Is this the time then that the Premier League loan market really sort of kicks into gear? Is this sort of this final week when those younger players may well be released to join a loan, Have you had a lot of conversations that are already players that have been linked with you, but are you sort of honing in on a couple of players, or have you got many targets this week?
Yeah, the market goes open, of course, when the Premier League starts, because then some players recognize they are maybe not the first target in the squad, or they're not the starting players, and they have different views. Of course, then some opportunities goes open. I think important is to understand this player we want to bring now in. It's not just squad player; it's about impact players, and every manager, every club wants to sign impact players permanent, but we know that's not always possible. Then loan, of course, is a good option, but for this loan, it must be a loan who can really help us immediately and can maybe an impact player from the starter instead of from the squad, and I think this is the key.
Can you share some of the feedback that you're getting? Because you said you're getting not only from clubs, from agents. What are they saying about Sheffield Wednesday and the environment here, which is a positive for potentially loan players to come in?
Yeah, I take your question. You ask about the attacking football. I think this is at the moment a key argument that clubs want to bring players here, because they see we want to play as not a special but a different style of football. We want to play forward, we want to keep the ball, we want to create chances, and I think this is more attractive also for the development and improvement for players than when you play a different way. This is one part, and I think they recognize that we developed and improved players. I think when I look back, example, Gassama, when I arrived, he was never in the squad. Musa was not on the same level, a young one. Now we have some, we bring Bailey to the next level. Yeah, I think now the next one is maybe Sean, could be. You see, we take them. And when I look to my players, even they are a little bit more experienced, even this player improved. And this is fantastic. And I think this is what everybody recognizes.
Are any signings close to being completed now?
Not yet.
And you mentioned that players were potentially going to move out as well. Is anything close there? And are we talking loans, permanents, both potentially before the window closes?
Yeah, I think we know this from one direction. Yeah, when we want to have players, and now we are maybe by some other players in the direction where we get requests, and then we have to decide. Important is if we send players for loan, then, and this is my job as well, I'm looking also for these clubs, and I look how they play football, what the new clubs could be helpful for improvement. I think this is not just make a loan that the player away. I think this is also for me to take responsibility for especially the young players, that they have a good environment for development. And this is all the things goes together, and then we make a decision together.
So about Leeds then, fascinating game next. What do you make of them? Obviously they've lost some good players this summer, not had the ideal start, but what kind of a test will they be?
Still a big team, a big opponent where we have to face to. I think it's a derby. This is special Friday night. I think it will be a special atmosphere again. We are ready, they are ready. Even the start was not perfect for them, but I think the home game, at the end it was, they had a lot of chances. They didn't win. Then I think away in West Brom, a draw is always possible against West Brom. And when we look to the value, this is still a squad about 160 million. I think it's not bad for this league, and I think it will be a proper fight, and this is what I want to see from my team. That we go there, we do our things right, what we can do, we have our direction, how we want to play football, and that we are committed 90 plus minutes to take something, and this is what I demand also from my experienced player. We had a lot of talks off the pitch, on the pitch about such topics in the meetings, but I know my players will do this, and I'm really looking for such a game, because this is the reason why we are here. We want to have such challenges, and it's for me it's a good start in the weekend, yeah, to take something Friday night, then you can look to other results. But for this we have to work really hard again and again and again.
How much do you enjoy these kind of games, Danny? You know, big night, Hillsborough, big crowd, Derby as you mentioned, tough opponent. What's it like to manage in these games?
Yeah, during the week it's about preparing such a game. I think this is especially after defeat sometimes, yeah, not the easiest way, because you have to look for solutions, what you can do, how you can help your players to bring them back on the right way, to give them the belief. But we had meetings, we prepared it, and then now we had a good training, and then tomorrow we meet each other, have a small session in the morning, then we go to the hotel, and then I think when we arrived in the stadium and the ref whistled, then we will be on fire. And I think I'm really looking forward. For me, it's always about such a game enjoying. Of course, I want to win with my team, but I give me not so much pressure, because I will enjoy such a game because I know we worked hard during the week, and then it's about decision making. Hopefully I make the right decisions for tomorrow, for the starting 11 and for the squad, and then it's about what the story of the game is, and then you have to make new decisions. I think this is the key as a manager: decision making.
And finally, what kind of an impact can the atmosphere have in a game like this, and the home supporters?
And I think there's no coincidence when you look to our results at home. I think the last defeat was against Leeds. It's a long time ago. There's also a reason why we had our massive supporters behind us. It's always helped us. We feel it now in Sunderland, when the crowd is there. And we felt this against Plymouth when everybody was on fire. Then it creates energy in the stadium. But for this energy, we have to play well and hard working. I think this is what the fans want to see at first. And we did well in the home games always. And from this point, we go forward. And even I think this is for a message for me, or from my point to the fans. Even if you feel not everything looks immediately nice or there's a mistake, support your team, stay behind and push them to the next good action, and not be too quick disappointed. This is for my team as well. I speak about disappointment, reaction, next action, and this is what we have to do tomorrow.
Thanks for your time, Danny. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Danny. How you doing?
Hi, Alex.
Are you well?
Yeah, of course.
Good stuff. You've got a strong record of bouncing back from heavy defeats. How do you go about that? Is that things that you say to the players? Is it the character of the players? Is it a combination of everything?
Well, I must say, I'm honest, it's a new information for me. I'm not recognized how we react always, but I know that we didn't lose so many games in the last weeks and months since I arrived here. I think this is a good feeling, and of course always the defeats, and I think this is more the point, the story of the defeats, why we have by defeats mostly time than bigger defeats. I think this is a part what I'm looking for, and there's also always a little bit similar in the big defeats. We conceded goals where we close to each other. This is then also a part what we have to looking for. But defeats is football, and after wins I spoke about process, and after defeats I speak about process. And I think when you look a little bit to the season where we are now, we bring a lot of players in, we rebuild the squad. Now we will challenge week by week. I think now we get the feedback where we are. This is the first quarter of the season, and then we come to the next quarter, and then it's about take consistently points, improve the players, and then you come to the next quarter in the season, and then it's about being in the right position, and then you come to the final quarter, and then it's about achieve your goals. And I think this is how I look This is how I watched my season, and this is why I recognize all the things what happens, and this is the reason why I trust our process and not question all the things what happens in one game.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, there are going to be highs and lows in games across the course of the season. From the outside looking in, it looks quite a robust squad. There's some experienced players in there. There's some younger players that you might sort of associate with being fearless. Is that what you see? And is that part of the squad that you've put together, the sort of mental side of things?
This was for me a big part, yeah, to have an anchor or a core with some anchors in the squad, with experienced one, with young, exciting players where you know they need game time and they will have a little bit of roller coaster, up and downs. And now it's about, for some players, they had in the last season is up and downs, and now for them it's about be more consistently, yeah, because to come to the next level it's about deliver again and again. And I think this is my experience from the past with different teams. The top teams, they can deliver every 3 days on the highest level, yeah. And the good teams, they can deliver, and sometimes they have a defeat. And this is where we have to come, that we take consistently points. And I'm very positive that we will do this season, because we have the right environments, we have the right group, we have a good atmosphere, we have a culture where we want to win in the training, and all the things. There is every action, every training session, there is fire, there's intensity in the training, and I think it's also that you see this week that some players had a little bit more hope, come back into the game, and this is also helpful to have this challenge on the training pitch.
Yeah, I'm sure. I was interested in something that you said, I think, to the guys at the club after the Sunderland game, in the euphoria that seems to envelop Wednesday when there's a good win, and then everything's negative after a defeat. I was interested, who's that aimed at? Is that a message to your players and internal, or is it wider? Is it to the fan base and perhaps us to a degree?
I think it's for me it's general, yeah. Of course, the one thing is a clear message to my players. It's not about one game and celebrate like we won the Champions League. Yeah, it's always about hard working, and I think you have some players, and this is human side. Yeah. Now it looks good. Yeah, you win 2 wins and it goes forward. Yeah, no. Championship, hard working, do it again, week by week, game by game. So, and the other thing, it's of course, I think everybody felt this in the stadium after Plymouth. It was awesome, the atmosphere, 4-0. We had 30-6 shots, we pressed, we have ball possession. It was a dominance. And everybody goes home, was entertained, and said, yeah, this is this year. But we know, yeah, and now we drop back a little bit to the reality, and we should not forget, and don't get me wrong, yeah, we want to go in this direction all the time, but we should not forget that last season it was a big, yeah, hard working to come to this point where we are now. And I think when we look back 8 months ago to now, it's a different view to Sheffield Wednesday, and I think this is also a big success from the last months and weeks since I'm arrived here. And I like to have expectation, but we have also to recognize what it means in this league, and is the expectation to win every game. It would be nice, yeah, but especially now with the refresh and rebuild the squad, now we have to learn from setbacks together, what it means, how work the group together, yeah, and all the things, and it will come now. And it takes, of course, in football it's about results, but for a process you need sometimes a little bit more time, and this time, especially the beginning of the season, we have to use to improve exactly from these points. And if we do this, then I'm really looking forward.
You mentioned him before. I want to talk about Sean. I think in pre-season you sort of suggested that he might be a part of the first team for the duration. Obviously, he's a young player. Is he someone that you're considering at all to put out on loan, or will you keep him in-house?
Good question, yeah. But I'm very convinced that's helpful for him that he trained with us now again and again. Yeah, he's always part for the first team. He changed the changing room from the academy now to the first team. Yeah, that means he's always a part from our training. You see it day by day. We have also to know, and I know this, he was injured in the academy a long time. And then you will have also with such a players up and downs, but the training's performance, he improved, he made huge step forward, and it's fantastic to see. I like his attitude. Yeah, he's very calm, he's always listening, he wants to learn, and these are right tools to make the next step. But the next step, and this is what I told before, for young players, it's not about do it 1 week or 2 weeks. It's about consistently to come to the next level, and for this hopefully he can get soon the next opportunity to play.
What's the latest with Bailey? I think it's sort of generally accepted that perhaps he or probably will go out on loan. You spoke about Pearce last week and saying that he needed a very specific type of club. Is that a similar thing with Bailey? What are you looking at with him?
Yeah, Bailey, we know the strength from Bailey, which kind of football is helpful for him to have a lot of situations where he can improve. For me, the most important key point for Bailey is game time, and game time means not just 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It means really be a starter and deliver again and again. I think this is helpful, and I think Bailey will choose the right club. We give him, or I give him some feedback to some clubs. I think it will be a good step for him if he decide, and from this point he go forward. And then of course it's also important that we look for our loan player. Yeah, that means then maybe visit him, give him feedback, analyze, to be close to him, to help him as well. I think this is apart from our job.
Just jumping back to the football for a second, you said something about a commando when you were talking about set pieces with Röhl. What's the score there? Is someone in charge of setting up and directing people? Or?
Yeah, for example, if you recognize that you stay on the second post in 1 against 3, then it would be helpful that you told your teammate we need more bodies on the second post. Yeah, and I think this is a part, but this is then not one guy, because you have one guy who can do everything. This is the goalkeeper. You have guys, they have to organize the wall, they have organized how we positioning, and for this we have 11 players on the pitch, and we have a lot of coaches off the pitch, and all we take the responsibility for the next action. And this is what we do. We analyze this, and hopefully we learn from this. And this is always easy to say. Everybody knows what happens and what you did in the pre-match meal and all the things, but football is football. If you make no mistakes, then all the games will be a draw, a 0-0, because then but we have to learn. That's a process. We have to learn, and I think that's the key message.
Yeah, no one wants all 0-0s. No one wants that.
No.
How are you feeling about transfers then? Are you positive, over the moon, a little bit, I don't know, nervous about what can be achieved in the next week or so?
I'm always positive, because I think we did well until now. I know what we have to do. Everybody knows what we have to do. We have a clear plan. But at the end, I will do my best with the Finalizing squad, and I think our squad is better now than last season. We improved in some key positions, but our benchmark last season was in a different way also high, because we had a strong group together, and now this is the combination: a better squad, but still the togetherness, still the willingness, and everybody has to be ready for the next step. And yeah, I like this to be here in this club with all the environments, with all the expectation now, with all my players. Yeah, I'm very happy here, and from this point I'm looking forward to the next weeks. And tomorrow we have a good game, a proper game, a derby. Yeah, this is not what I want to have more.
Is there a possibility of any permanent moves, or is it entirely the loan market that you're looking at?
I will a little bit be honest. We have a good squad together. To sign now players permanent, to have really impact, that means I think you need a good money, because this profiles of player they can cost a lot, and for this you have always to look. You want to have impact players, or you want to have squad players. And squad players is for me not negative. For me it's squad players, you have more bodies around where you can train, but impact player make really the impact and the different on the pitch, and maybe they can decide games. And this kind of players, and especially in the English market, with Championship or Premier League, that cost always a lot of money. But I think we did well until now, and from this point we go forward, and hopefully we find the next players for our squad. And I'm really positive about this.
Yeah, good stuff. How keen are you to avoid a situation where there are players that have to be left unregistered? I know the conversations taking place with players, and some of that will be their decision, I guess, to a degree. But how keen are you to avoid that?
I think this is not helpful for nobody. It's not helpful for me as a manager. It's not helpful for the club, and it's not helpful for the player. I think this is what we have to avoid, that we have such a situation. I think last season, second leg, we had some hard decisions, I must say. Yeah, it was not easy, but in this case the player did well. Yeah, they were committed to the team. But at the beginning of a season, and you have then such a situation, that would be, for me, that would be then really a point where I say, then I'm a little bit disappointed that we find not a different solution. I think this is what we should try in the next weeks until the window closes.
Danny, thanks for your time. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you. See you.
Afternoon, Danny.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm fine.
Good. I just wanted to ask you talking to Alex there about consistency, and I guess you play an important part in that with your mood in the dressing room at full time, and when you come and speak to us after games. Is that sort of calmness, that balance, is that something that comes naturally to you, or did you have to fight it a little bit early on?
My expectation is always high, but I also recognize in which level we are and in which point of process we are. And to overreact after one defeat, and even it's a big defeat, and I know this, it's the wrong point, because this team now needs to grow up with these moments. And if we grow up together, then we are stronger. I think you cannot compare when I'm arrived here to the situation now, and for me it's also not about speak too much about this first defeat. A little bit, I will not say it's crazy, but sometimes now in the last days it looks like that we had a horror start with 3 defeats in a row. I think after Hull everybody was celebrate and happy, and nobody thought we can lose against Sunderland this year. But championship is championship. You saw this. It goes in this direction. And if we are strong and take the points consistently, and we are ready also to work against resilience, and will be science, then we are in a good way.
And I spoke to Daniel Farke yesterday and asked him how he thought your team had improved since March, and one of the key things he mentioned was the balance in your squad between youth and experience. I just wonder how much that has been in your mind this summer to get that right balance.
You need the balance because experienced players played normally on a similar level. Yeah, they have a little bit more, a little bit less, but normally experienced player can play on the highest level all the time. And young players, they have to come to this point, and it takes time, and it needs trust from the manager, to believe again, give them opportunity. I think this is also important, that they can show again and can make a reaction, and they have to understand this football is not about a daily business. Just one good game and you can be the superstar. No, you have to deliver again and again, and on this journey I will help them, I will support them all the time. On the other part, I will demand that they do this and take the right things from defeats.
And obviously, a really important part of your job is about developing players, and not just young players, but how much does it help the development of young players that have people like Barry Bannon, Josh Windass, players like that around them?
These are the players, a little bit the role models for the young players, because the young players looking forward to or looking up to the experienced one, and if the experience showed again and again, and for example Barry Bannon, when I look into his trainings performance, he is always on fire, he always want to win, he always work on the highest level, and he always is demanding, and I think this is helpful. When I look back to my time in Munich, there was in every training session the spirit that everybody want to win, and then when the academy player come, then they feel what is the difference between this team and this team, and experienced one, it's helpful, but also experienced one have to show and have to play good football to be a role model. Otherwise, it's difficult.
And I mean, you talk about that spirit in Bayern training. Is it almost more down to the players than to you to sort of set that competitive attitude in training every day?
Yeah, what I don't like is you go to the training session and there's no intensity, no fire on the training, and you do just why you have to do it. No, I want to feel all the time when we go to training, this is 60, 90, 120, 150 minutes hard working, hard training, and after that we can smile. But in this time it's focused to football, and always push your own limits. It's not about I do what I can do. No, always try to be better. Every day to be better, win more games. The next pass is important, the next shoot is important, the next win in a small 4-against-4 is important, and this is what I want to see. And with this mindset, you can improve as a player, as a team. If you have not the spirit, then you will standing still, and then the process is not going on.
And it's probably fair to say that it was very early, but that we haven't yet seen the best of Leeds United this season. You obviously have to prepare for them at their best. So is that a case of studying what happened last season, or just too much change over the summer for that?
Of course, you look back. At first, you look to the last games back to get the feeling. Then you look to the last season. I think they had an outstanding performance, but at the end, they had some games where they got some defeats, and I think Leeds United is still a favorite for the promotion. Even the start was maybe not 6 points, but I think, and this is what I told before, I come back to this point, the start of the season is helpful, but in this start of the season you will win nothing, you will not achieve one goal, and I think these teams are ambitions, and we want to show up, we want to show a reaction, and from this point it will be a tough game tomorrow for both sides. I think there's a big respect. Both teams know what it looks like tomorrow, and from this point we go into the game and we try our best, and then we will see what we get for our performance.
And you talked a lot today about you not reacting too much for good or for bad. So have you seen much of a different attitude from your players this week, or would you almost be disappointed if you did because you're trying to reach that level? How is it?
I think the big thing or the big difference this week to the last week was that we trained in one group together again, because there was no midweek game. Last week we had a midweek game and then we split a little bit the group, and I think it was helpful. Again, I think after a big win against Plymouth, then you see a little bit that some players recognize, okay, I'm in the starter or I'm just in the squad, but after defeat, all the players want to show up because they want to show they are ready for the next game, and this creates immediately more energy and more challenges and competition in the training than in the last week, and yeah, that was great to see. And when I'm general look, I think there was maybe one training session in the last 9 months where you say, oh, that was not well or that was not right, but all the other sessions, always front foot, always hard working, always demanding, always intensity, always sprint, never rest. And from this point there's no point where I have to be too negative. No, I see the process is going, and this is for me the key point.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, Donny.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.